All right, Tutorial Island. In this video, I'm going to walk through Tutorial Island and give some commentary, as well as take this opportunity to scope out all the different parts that we need to have in our software. For those of you who don't know what Tutorial Island is, it is basically a 5 to 10 minute walkthrough where the RuneScape game will try to teach you some fundamentals of how to play the game. And this is something that's required for all players to do before they can start and play the game for real. So you could think of it as like a tutorial, or you could think of it as just like a quick refresher, or just like a quick introduction to RuneScape before you can actually play the real thing. So in this video, I'm going to talk through the Dreambot client and all the developer tools that help people who write bots help them write bots. And so as you can see, there's just a bunch of helpful debugger information. So if you're familiar with, for example, Google Chrome, you can do like right click and inspect on an element on the web, and you can kind of see how the web page is laid out. It's a very similar idea here with Dreambot. And yeah, so there's, as you can see right now, there's like all these game objects that are available in your surroundings. There's a bunch of player settings. There's some widgets which allow you to click certain parts of the screen, especially if there's like a dialogue going with another character, or just like call to actions like here when we have to enter the display name. And so there's just a lot of developer tools that are available for people who want to write software to bot RuneScape. And yeah, this video will be a walkthrough of all that as we're doing Tutorial Island. Part of this is also product scoping, and so for those of you who aren't familiar with the game, this is a good idea to get a sense of like, okay, like here are the tools that I have, here's like the general problem that I want to solve, how would I solve it? And so here I'm going to take some notes on the right as we go along, where I'm just going to keep track of all the different things that need to happen, and then we're going to kind of translate to code in the upcoming videos. So yeah, hope this helps. If you're interested in something like this part of it, like in order to play old school RuneScape, you must select a unique display name. That's widget 558 child 5, and you can actually see the text. So later on, when we use our Kotlin tool, when we use Kotlin and when we use Dreambot, we can actually look up a widget by text and kind of figure out like which screen we're on. So there's a lot of things we can do there. But yeah, just gonna leave it at that for now. Yeah, so let's actually disable this, and let's just put in a username. I'm gonna look up the name. Looks like it's available, so I'm gonna click set name. So next activity is building your character. So here we're also gonna I'm gonna talk through the high level approach here as well. So yeah, I guess just thinking through this, there's a lot of buttons here. There's probably one for each thing that you need to change, one for the design, so you could just do something like that. Yeah, so there's head, jaw, torso, arms, etc. Design, pass, color. Cool, so I think the high level approach is we're gonna figure out what these widgets are, and we're gonna just have a user click these some random times so that we're not always looking like, you know, a typical bot on RuneScape. And then the hair, you can make it a little weird. Just like click it random amount of times. So I think that's what I'm going to do for the code. And then yeah, gender, we can just select a random gender. Let's keep it like maybe dark skin a little bit. All right, and then we're going to click confirm. So we're going to basically choose gender and then click confirm. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Cool, so now that we're done with that part, you can start using the rotation. You can start to walk around. Okay, so maybe we walk around, rotate the camera a bit. It's kind of what I want to do in terms of like writing the code for this. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take you through. Maybe there's a way to detect it by looking at the copy here. So for example, if we again use our widget tool, Looks like it's 263, child 1, grandchild 0. So if we look at our Game Explorer and look at our widget, right? 263, right? 1 0. So 1 0. So before you get started, set a display name. So maybe we can detect if that widget exists, and if it does, then we oh, actually no, we're actually kind of already done. So maybe we can look at the NPC. So for example, if we go back to the widget, at the entity hover tool, we can look at the Gielinor guide. And then we can start talking to the Gielinor guide. So if you look at the NPC, there's a Gielinor guide you can start talking to. That's kind of like an action that you can do. And yeah, here's some information. You can see like whether they're animating or not, where they are in the game. So they're on the 0th floor, which is the ground level, and they're at this position in the game, which is a global XY coordinate system. So which is kind of nice. So if you look at, for example, the world map, we're here. This just happens to be a coordinate of 3093, 3105. So that's also another way we can use to like kind of figure out where things are or where we are. So yeah, so we're just gonna click through the Gielinor guide. I'm just gonna take some notes here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to him. Maybe an approach is like click to continue, like if continue available, always click it, right? So I'm just gonna click through this. Looks like we're clicking through some continue buttons, which is great. So to answer, simply click on your chosen answer. So it's telling you how to do screen. So prompts, right? So there's 3 prompts. Let's go with the last prompt. I'm an experienced player. That's kind of cool. And then again, more continues, which is pretty easy to code. We'll figure this out. So let's start by looking in your settings menu. Okay. So when it says, let's start by at your settings menu, I have to click the settings menu. And again, that's probably a widget. So if we look at the widget tool, we can see that it's 164, right? And so we can figure out which widget this is, and we can start clicking it. So after clicking the widget, we talk to the guide again, right? So I'm just gonna kind of breeze through this a little bit because I can rewatch the video afterwards, and this is actually pretty helpful. So yeah, looks like we're doing the guide. All right, cool. So that's it. So click continue, and that's it. So now that you're done with the Gielinor guide, now we can kind of move around the room a little bit. Maybe we can play around with some of the settings here, like set the volume up and down. And yeah, so that's kind of it. Now we're done with the first part. So now we're gonna go and move to, looks like our first thing is to talk to the expert. So let's talk to the expert. So we click on the expert. And again, we're just gonna keep clicking continue. Now that we're given a small fishing net. So yes, fishing expert. This is survival expert, okay. Again, I don't see any new functionality, it's just widget clicking. Widget clicks. Right. Widget clicks, and then we're gonna just fish, right? NPC clicks. One thing to note is if you look at the Explorer again, this fishing spot is probably one of these two. And the fishing spot just gives you a bunch of answers or actions. One is net, and that's kind of how you can figure out whether it's a fishing spot. You can also use the ID field, so 3317, that's the ID for the fishing spot NPC. And so we can use that to figure out like where to click. So pretty straightforward. We're gonna click the skills menu, and then we're gonna go back to expert. Okay, blah blah blah, more dialogue. Now we're gonna chop a tree. That's also another NPC click. So if you look at, for example, Game Explorer, actually no, this is actually a game object, I think. So if we look at tree, yeah, look at the tree. That's the tree. I don't know which tree this is. Maybe it's this one. Okay, it's this one. Anyway, we can just look up the tree by ID and maybe find the closest one or whatever, and then it says actions chopped down. And so that's how we can figure out like where the tree is, and then we can kind of probably make a fire. And make a fire, and then we could probably cook it. That's just nothing interesting happens. Use it with fire, so you're probably cooking it. Cool. So I think that's kind of it. Okay, we probably need to do some like use. So select an item in inventory, shrimp, and then use it on the fire. So that's kind of, you know, functionality that we should be able to do on Dreambot API. So after that, let's actually move forward with the next section. So the next section is, okay, so we're just gonna do a bunch of walking. Maybe we can even run, which is kind of cool. And then we're just gonna, again, I actually think it's kind of cool to like figure out how to like rotate the camera around as you're moving around. That would be kind of a nice way to play RuneScape. So anyway, we're gonna talk to the cook. Blah, 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 just a bunch. He's gonna give you some items. Okay, cook. So give you some items. And it looks like you just have to like use one item on the other. And then use that item on range or something like that, which is game object. So we're gonna move that over. We're gonna make dough, and then we're gonna like cook it on the range. Okay. Cool, so now that we've cooked some bread, we're good. Let's move on. Open door. And then we're just gonna click on the mini map. I think the mini map's kind of cool. And, you know, I think it'll be nice for you to figure out a way to like, yeah, honestly, panning the camera is actually kind of cool. So anyway, that's this. So now we're gonna go into this house here, and then we're gonna talk to quest guide. Okay, so quest guide. There's more dialogue here. Okay, we're gonna open this quest tab, talk to the person again, and you're just gonna keep clicking here. Blah blah blah. I don't really care. Okay, moving on. So that's all we really need to do. Just basically continue dialogue. Click quest tab. Okay, cool. So now you're in the dungeon. So you're just gonna keep moving. Now, if you look at, for example, the player position. So I'm just gonna explain this real quick. So if you look at, let's see, if you look at Game Explorer again, you look at myself. So this is me. You can see that my tile is 3080, right, it's 0. Interesting. Now if we look at NPCs, right, it's not NPCs, actually, yeah, let's actually refresh, right? Interesting. I would expect this to be -1, but it's actually okay. So let's actually take a look at the NPC. So you have mining instructor. Okay. Never mind. I was gonna talk about positioning, but this is fine. So yeah, let's go. So we're gonna talk to this mining instructor. So we're just gonna continue clicking OK, and then we're just gonna mine something. So let's go here. We're gonna mine. Cool. So now let's also go and mine another one over here. Okay. He's probably gonna mine it. Okay, cool. So now, oh well, he's gonna get a couple ore. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the furnace, and we're just gonna smelt it together. Now that we have an iron bar, we're gonna talk to the guy again. Okay, so mine copper, mine tin, and then smelt, and then talk to the guy. We're probably gonna do something. Okay, and then we're gonna use the bar on the furnace. Use bar on anvil. And then we're gonna make a bronze dagger. Cool. Choose from menu. Okay. Probably it'll be a widget choosing kind of action. Okay, and that's good. Now we're moving on. Open gate. Cool. So gonna save it. All right, cool. So now let's actually talk to combat instructor. All right, so we're just gonna click continue. Okay, so we've got this, and then we're just gonna try to, okay, so we're actually gonna click on some tabs, equip an item. Okay, and then talk to instructor again, and then we need to equip this. Okay, and then we've got different styles. Okay, so, okay, cool. So now we're just gonna kill a rat. All right, let's kill a rat. Here we go. So it's gonna open gate, attack a rat. Okay. Cool. All right, cool. So now we're gonna go back to combat instructor. Okay, so now we're gonna equip arrow and short bow. Okay, and then we're gonna switch to rapid maybe. And then click on rat. And then, yeah, we'll see. It's actually a really good platform. So, pretty straightforward if we look at, again, show it, player position, player animation. We can just show some stuff, camera position. We can even do web tool mode, widget, which is not that important. Maybe entity hover tool. Okay, cool. So now that we're good, now we're gonna go to the ladder. All right, and then now we're going to the bank. So this is like another aspect of RuneScape where you can deposit money and put stuff in your bank. So if you go to here, you're gonna click on the booth. Okay, so bank. Okay, so let's just take all our money. Okay, and then you can use a pull booth. And then toll booth. You can do toll booth. All right. Voting is open to members. Okay, so this is just clicking, and you just look at the polls. All right, cool. No one cares. All right, cool. So next, click door. Talk to investor guy. Count a guide. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward. I think you're just gonna click like account management. Okay. Just keep clicking next, and they're just gonna show you some of the stuff. How to get membership. Basically, you just keep clicking at this point. All right, cool. So it's just a bunch of like continues. All right, cool. So now I'm gonna go and talk to this person here. All right. Now we're going to learn about prayer. Brother Grace. So prayer tab open. More tabs. I'm basically just searching for like anything that's new. Again, most of these are just going to be widgets. Logic doesn't seem too complicated. Okay, so now we're going to go to Mage. All right, so okay, and a tutor. All right, cool. So we're going to talk to the magic instructor. Okay, so we've got this. talk to the magic guy. So again, open tab. Cool, so now we're gonna cast the spell on a chicken. Okay, cool. And then click yes to do you want to go to the main menu. Okay, so that's, now that we're finished with Tutorial Island, that's it. So I hope this gives you an idea of, like, at the end of this video series, you will be able to go through that whole flow that I just showed in terms of Tutorial Island, with help from Dreambot and kind of all the tools that we have available to us. We're gonna write some software that takes a character through that entire process. This is mainly to teach you software engineering because I'm very passionate about coding and, you know, being able to build things. So yeah, I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.